Well, I guess that means we start. I can't see anything on, and I got a big. So let me turn this down. All right.
Hold on. I'm gonna fix it.
Well, I ended up picking up a big echo. So,
All right.
huh?
No more echo. I'll get you your
No, we
screen
got
in a
an
second.
echo. Okay, what about now, John? You lost my sound. Sound is gone. 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 Sound is up. Sound is up. Sound is up. All right, you can hear that. I like to see the little smiles out there. That's good. That's good. I'm smiling a little bit too because I'm out here at 6205 Coit Road eating mm, cheese sticks from the Lantern Grill and Pub House or Tap House. Mm, I'm sorry, I'm just getting caught up in my food because I ain't really had no dinner tonight. But it's a wonderful night to be talking sports again. I hadn't said this to JT, but I'm gonna give him time to think about this before I get to my run out because got to give us an update on what's going on in the World Cup. So go ahead and do your little bit of research on that part. Um, but it's a great night to be out here and just be amongst the people, having a couple sodas and a little bit of cheese sticks. I think tonight we'll be spend a little bit of time. Not a whole lot of Alabama stuff going on. Probably more basketball than football till they get ready to go. But man, Cowboys are making a whole lot of noise and moves and stuff going on, so that's kind of interesting. Cover that with a little bit of soccer that JT will hit, and I think we'll be good. And you guys can ask whatever you want for those of you that are watching the show. So we do thank you for going to our YouTube page and watching it and getting in the chat. We do appreciate you when you download them and listen to that. So this is Teague Steak on Wednesday night, 8:15 start time, uh, and everything's lovely. So, how do I want to start the show in an official capacity? Tonight, I think it's really more about the holiday season and what you do and what you do with your family and how you spend your time. Um, Super important for us to be reminded of how precious life is. I did have the opportunity to briefly talk about Mike Leach and his sudden death. Mike Leach was a head football coach at Mississippi State and had a massive heart attack at the age of 61. Um, and it just kind of hits close to home, especially when you're in your 50s and, you know, someone found him in his house and had to make that call. Um, so as we're around this holiday season, man, make sure you're telling people that you love them and that you want to be around them and that you miss them and give them great gifts and all that kind of stuff because you never know um, about the timing of things. So we're going to worry about this timing as well. So I'm very thankful for this gentleman who sits and works on this show with me on a weekly basis. Thank you, John. Um, it is James Theo Teague the second, the co-host of the show. We'd like to bring him in. He is the analytical one. I was actually talking about you today to the University of Chicago, the defensive coordinator there. So I do have to connect you with him, JT, because you know it's kind of cool for have a school like that to be able to recruit JP2 because they only go into certain schools, um, and you got to be able to have a 33 on your ACT.
I'm already just assuming who they came to who they're interested in.
I don't know, but here's
Oh,
I'm going to tell you the catcher on another reason why it's there and how small this world is. So this is the defensive coordinator came by. His name is Luke Cut Kampf. Okay. Uh, I know his aunt because his aunt used to babysit you in Green Bay. How about this? When you were little, so our worlds collided in this, and he actually came over to JP2, and I gifted his family with the Green Bay Packer jersey. Me wearing number 31. Now he was young at the time, and he still had a jersey, and he brought the jersey in today as well, and asked me to sign it for him. I was kind of jealous because I wanted the jersey back because it was really nice. It was a 1994 Green Bay Packer jersey with the 75 deal. I was like, ooh, I don't even know if I have one of those. So let me get that back from you. You can take the player that you want. We can cut this deal. But we got to talking about some stuff with Coach Sheely and all that kind of stuff, a bit of defense, and he went on to talk. I asked him, I said, "What kind of defense you guys run up there?" And it's kind of hybrid. He says, "Well, it's a four-man principle, but we end up with some 3-3 stack, and we do all these kind of things with our cover three. It's not a true zone match, but." And I was like, "Man, you need to talk to JT." He
Sounds like
started
he
talking about.
does. I could
Yeah, he
use some.
does. He started talking about Visio, how they use Visio, but they don't really use it with the players. They use it to put in stuff, and then I guess you cut slides out of Visio and put it in the huddle presentations.
I'm
Um,
literally doing that right now. It sounds like he's probably. I'm not going to name the company because they're not a sponsor, but it sounds like he's using the same software that I'm using.
it probably is. So I did tell him that I was going to connect you to, so y'all could chop it up, talk a little bit of X's and O's, but also about the software stuff that they may be using. So I will do that, um, and then you can run with it the way that you want to.
Sweet.
Cool.
Thanks.
All right. So, well, why don't you go ahead and have you been watching the World Cup? I mean, you're
Of course
sitting
I
at
have.
home. You've been sitting at home. You're supposed to be working from home. You're not really working. I know you're not really working. So tell us about that. What do you do? How do they know if you're working or not? You're with the behind the robot. You put in and you say, "I'm here," and then what happens?
Well, I mean, I guess the actual answer is you don't know if I'm working or not unless I have meetings or um it's all about productivity, right? So at the end of the day or the end of the week or whatever, I still got to give status updates on where things are at. So my proof of work, which is actually a very technical term, but I don't mean it that way. My proof of work is the PR the pull request. Sorry, can't use acronyms. The pull request that I put up when things are done, and that's basically me writing a whole bunch of code and handing it over to the rest of my team and say, "Hey, look at this. Find all of the problems that you may see. If not, then sign your name on it and say that it's good to go."
Does anybody in this bar know what he's talking about? Go. Oh, that's all. He raises his hand. We got another engineer in the house
Yeah.
out here. He must be drinking water over there, not something else.
Nah, he's probably drinking beer. We don't have there's nothing in this industry that says that you can't have a beer before noon.
No, but y'all drink that special beer. Y'all got the wheat beer or some kind of IPA, right? It's got to be fancy, mixed up with.
Well,
It
this
just can't
is
be the
this is
regular.
a this is an Oktoberfest.
Oh, yeah, they said you got two people said that's a good beer, but it's December, so
Yeah, but
I don't
it's a
get it.
Texas beer. It's from Carbach. You know, it's
Carbach? That's a city?
no, that's the name of the brewery. Carbach's in Houston.
Oh,
See, I
interesting.
tried to lay you up with a
Not really.
Subway or Segway, not Subway.
To Houston, to the Texans, and how
Yeah, but
they
I
get
forgot we have
there.
World Cup stuff to cover quickly.
All right, go ahead, hit it then.
All right. Well, the finals are set. There is one game left in the World Cup. We are down to two. It is Lionel Messi and Argentina versus Kylian Mbappe and France. France is looking to, I hate to use the term defend because they're not defending anything. That's actually one of my pet peeves when it comes to sports such as basketball, soccer, baseball, football.
What do you mean they aren't defending? If they won the championship,
No, you don't defend anything in football. You don't have to give the trophy back. You're going for the next one. This ain't boxing where if you lose, they take the belt from you. No, that hangs in the rafters forever. They can't take that from you. It's a new climb to the top of the mountain. Everybody starts at the bottom, and you got to get back to the top every year.
do y'all agree with that? No, never mind. Y'all are just like him. Do y'all agree with that? I got some yeses and some nos.
You can be reigning champs, but you're not defending champs. That title is always yours.
Ah, that's pretty technical. Would that be considered a 0 or a 1?
What do you mean?
I mean, I don't know. I was just trying to put it in mathematical terms or some computer term. That's all y'all deal with is zeros and ones, right?
I
Are there
mean,
some other numbers?
technically, yes, they're all zeros and ones. But my point is, I think that the mindset of defending a championship is less than it. Think about the team that is fighting to win their first one versus the team that's already won 6. Which team do you think wants it more? Just in general.
Yeah, okay. So the one that doesn't have one yet wants it more, but
Right. So I think the mindset of defending your title, which again, I don't think you're actually doing, and realizing that everybody starts in the same playing field and you got to climb that mountain again every year, and it's not that you're at the top waiting to get knocked off.
So would this be a
Crucial.
better analogy? So what about this? You can only be defending your title if you make it back to the big dance. So now you're actually officially defending it because you're back in the Super Bowl.
I'm sticking to my guns on this one. You defend in boxing, they take it from you. Quite literally, are no longer a champion in boxing if you lose. There is
Yeah,
one.
but you were a champion because you're still the heavyweight champ of whatever year that was. But anyway, so give us the update.
So the update is the final 4 was Croatia and Argentina and Morocco, which was the first African country to make it to the semifinals ever, versus France. There were I gotta throw my plug in there because since I am a
contributor,
a PSG contributor, yes, there were a lot of PSG players in that final 4. But the argument of who is the GOAT between Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi might be settled on Sunday. Lionel Messi is playing to actually win a World Cup, which is arguably the hardest trophy to win in the sport, especially since it only comes around every 4 years. This will be his first one, and that will be something that Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't have. Kylian Mbappe, though, who is in his early 20s, is actually already going for his second World Cup victory. So it'll be a battle between 2 high-profile teammates play on the same team fighting for one trophy. So I wonder how that's going to be right after this when they have to come back in the same locker room and one of them just beat the other one for soccer's most coveted trophy.
What? Okay, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Well, what time is that? When is the game?
I know it's on Sunday. Let's see. I'm not sure of the time because they've been playing all those games at like midnight. Sunday, 9 a.m. Central.
Okay, I might be up. I will be up, but I'll be doing something else for CBS. So, what's this question down here they got for you?
World Cup question: why don't they play the semifinal games on the same day? Argentina gets 5 days rest, but France only gets 4. I thought about this. I don't actually know the answer. My guess is that I wonder if did they play the semifinals, the semifinal games on the same day? I'm gonna look.
I don't know. I just have to talk to my soccer coach at John Paul II High School because I know they're supposed to be watching film of the soccer games that they played.
But they're
And
not.
when I go into the meeting room, I see the World Cup on. So I don't know if they're actually prepared for the game or not. I didn't see that, but they haven't lost a district game, so I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah. So I think the short answer, John Davis, is Argentina played on the 13th. Or I'm sorry. Argentina played on the 9th of December, and France played the day after. So they had the same amount of rest in between their quarterfinal and semifinal match. Kind of unfortunate that you have one less day for a final, but such is life. And the reason they do that, they usually reserve to play the games on the same day when tiebreakers matter. You know, you got to beat this team by 4, or you got to. They usually do that for group stage games, so that you can't. The team that you need to lose lost, so then you get to just like not show up for the game and not try. So they try to play them at the same day on the same day at the same time. But
Like
as
you
with
want what
anything
you
with
want to do
these,
with football,
huh?
like what you want to do with playoffs in football in the league. So you're
Yeah,
not.
yeah. No, it was one of them was wild because you had two teams that were in the same group, and you going into the game and you think, hey, I gotta win. We have to win, but we also have to hope that they lose by 2 points or 2 goals or whatever. And then you end up scoring 3 goals, and you're like, this is awesome. We're up 3, so we've made up the point differential, and now we're ahead on tiebreakers if it doesn't go our way. And then at the same time, the other team scores, and now like you're not going, and you're watching both of these games at the same time, and you actually just don't know who's going to go through because it matters how bad you beat another team. So that was kind of exciting.
Hey, why do the people in the European football world get mad when you say 0 instead of
Nil?
nil?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
why do they get mad when you say 0 instead of nil? Like it means I'm uneducated or I don't care or
And
what the
maybe
heck
it's the
does that
same reason that you don't say 0 in tennis.
love?
Yeah,
15 love? What is that all about?
I don't
There's
know.
not a whole lot of love behind the 0 anyway, is it?
I don't know. I could tell you. I have no idea.
You gotta look that one up. Why did that start? Is 15 love?
I will. I'll look it up. I'll bring it next week.
That's kind of anybody know. Why would you say 30 love,
I
40
also want to
love?
know why are the increments 15, 15, 10?
It's like 7-on-7. 15 yards for a first down, 15 yards for a first down, and 10 to score a touchdown. But I guess 7-on-7 hadn't been around that long. But that love thing kind of got me kind of interested. I don't know. So you can't say it's 15-0.
Hey, so here's a question for you to figure out for later. Just to switch subjects real quick. When was the last time that Alabama basketball had a higher ranking than Alabama football?
Probably my years when I was there, when we had Robert Ory and all them dudes, and we weren't very good at the beginning. Then we were afterwards, but they were pretty good with Wimp Sanderson back in the day, if I had to guess. But there were some bad football years for a minute. Think about it.
Oh, yeah. So I'm thinking like specifically like maybe 2002. I don't know if Alabama basketball was ever ranked. I know they made it to the tournament, but I don't know if they were ranked.
Are we still ranked number 4? No, we're switching. Are we still ranked number 4? Yes. I don't know. Who did we beat last night? I missed it. Did
Memphis
we win? Memphis. When do we play Gonzaga?
next,
That's the next one.
soon. Um,
They might shoot all the way up if we beat Gonzaga. What's Gonzaga rate?
Gonzaga is ranked 15.
Oh, well, it's not enough to move us in basketball.
Yeah, Purdue is real good. The team that is ahead of Alabama right now is or that's directly ahead. Number 3 is the team that Alabama lost to, which is UConn on a neutral floor. So I don't really know how basketball rankings work. You know, it's not a you lose a game and then you drop because they play so many and
Maybe we
anybody
got to
can
get
lose.
maybe we got to get Wimp Sanders back on again because he kind of talked. Remember when he was talking about the seeding and all that stuff?
Oh, he was.
Maybe
Yeah. He had
that
some
that
good
might.
insight on that.
Yeah, that was really good.
Well,
That
I
was
did
really
look
good.
at bracketology just because why not?
Kind of early.
I know. I wanted to see if the tab actually had something on there, but apparently, I don't know. Joe Lenardi has Alabama already slated as a 3 seed, which is pretty
Anything
high,
better than 2, right?
huh?
2's kind of bad luck, isn't it?
5 is bad luck, I guess. But yeah, the twos. There's
Uh,
1 2 that gets upset every now and then. Happened to Duke.
well, I don't know. I got to get down to one of those games. That's one thing I hadn't really done in years. Been the Coleman Coliseum. I guess I need to go
I heard
before
they're
they
redoing it.
tear it down. Well, we just been told they're about $70 million short.
Oh,
So
well, you good for it?
what?
I said you good for it.
Oh, I thought you said the football program was good for it,
Well,
but
they
now
are
we need
good for it.
we need the money to pay the players now. So
Oh, Alabama has been bumped up to a 1 seed. John says 2006, last time Bama basketball ranked ahead of football. There you go.
he's cheating because he's
He was
googling it.
he was googling it while we was talking about it.
Like you don't know, he don't know. He said he knew it was 06 or 07. He just had to check. But okay, I mean that's
Yeah, well,
you,
shoot.
you
When
can't
was the
you
here
can't
you go, John? When was the last time Alabama was a 1 seed? Has that ever happened in the tournament? Have they ever been a 1 seed?
He's shaking his head no.
That's
I
crazy.
would kind of agree with that. He said two's been the best. You know, I'm proud of Nate Oates and what he's doing up there and getting those guys playing. And they weren't living and dying. I watched the Houston game a little bit, and they weren't living and dying by the 3 ball like they had
Like
been.
they used to. Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually
I
playing
mean,
some.
they still shot like 26 threes.
Yeah,
But they hit like 10. So, I mean, that's a pretty good ratio. They had more threes made than Memphis had even attempted. I know that
what,
much.
what do you got to do? You need to shoot. What's a good percentage of shooting threes? 30%.
30% is outrageous.
Yeah. Okay, so they were above 30 if they shot
Yeah, they were at
10.
least 10 for 26 at one point in the game. I don't know what they ended up finishing at, but
Well, let's see. They just loaded. They just loaded. That's good. I need it though, and I'll get down there and try to.
Alabama
I don't
plays
know,
again
man.
on
It's gonna be
Saturday.
tough. It's gonna be tough for me to get down though, because this is our 30-year anniversary. So we're scraping up all our pennies. And John said, "Forget it." When he just went to his games, he just make his wife mad. Just go ahead and get the hotels and make his trips. And I ain't quite that way.
Yeah, they
But
shot this last game. They shot 37% from 3.
okay, so Alabama basketball is doing good. I'm kind of excited about. I'm kind of shocked that when you talked about Morocco being the first African country to actually make it to a World Cup.
No, not
That's
the World Cup, the semifinals.
semifinals. Yeah, sorry. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be, but
No, I mean it's it's there are not very many. There are good African teams. Um, it's kind of like they have stars that play other places, and usually they are one of two kind of teams. They're either like a super fast team or they're a very big, very strong team, but they're not very fast. And they usually don't have the defense to hang with. Name another country that like does this for real. But Morocco, I don't know if they. This is just my opinion. I don't know if they were all stars. If they had a very high level of players, they have one that is world class, but they were a unit. They played very well as a team together. Whereas there are other teams in the World Cup that have all kinds of talent, but they're all they're all superstar talents in their own right. So they play very individually rather than
Mhm.
cohesively.
Okay. All right. I want to totally flip the script on you. But let me take a pause real fast to be able to say this to the people who are listening in here. And it's kind of an inside joke for myself, and no one's going to know what I'm talking about, except maybe one person. But I do appreciate all the generosity that people tend to give me while I'm here at the bar. People want to be nice, buy you maybe some food, maybe a drink, maybe a shot or something of that nature, right? And I tend not to turn down gifts because it got to be. Yeah, I was just always told you got to accept the gift whether or not you want it, right? Problem becomes when they buy you the gift and then they walk out on you, and then you're kind of left with it at the end of the night. And they say, "Hey, did such and such buy you something?" And I'm like, "Oh, I guess I better take care of that since I got to be back next week." So anyway, just a friendly reminder: be good to your host. Take care of Jason because he's gonna get up on the stage a little bit later on, and we're gonna turn this into Coyote Ugly or whatever, where he dances on the bar, that kind of thing. Oh look, he put it. He They said a hit dog will bark, so he
Yep,
put this.
they're
I'm
for
guilty
real.
of it.
John O in the chat saying he's guilty.
Oh man. Anyway, it was kind of funny. It's like, Jason. No, Jason asked me, did John leave? Yeah, he been gone. Oh. Oh. Well. Anyway, I just thought I was. I didn't ask you to say anything. Nobody knew I was talking about you, but
I sure didn't.
whatever. No, no one knew. So, okay. So back to your other segue about Houston and the Dallas Cowboys. I have to admit that was the most frustrated I've ever been at a football game.
Which
As a,
side of the ball were you frustrated with?
I was frustrated at the game. I was frustrated at offense. Probably more. Well, here's the deal. So I kind of, and maybe it's a problem because because I'm an analyst now, and it really. I mean, we go and we watch the game from a different perspective anyway, just because we coach and we played, and now being an analyst for CBS, I'm watching. Uh-oh, gifts coming my way. Thank you. Appreciate it. That wasn't an ask, by the way, but I appreciate it. So I was wondering, am I being more critical because I'm now having to actually talk about the team and what they're doing more than just, what we're doing here on Teague's Take or just going to work and being the fan. Now I'm actually having to analyze this and try to figure out why the heck did he throw this interception? Why the heck did Turpin drop this ball on the punt to him? Uh, what was going on defense when we couldn't stop, something? Uh, and so it was different. And I was trying to have a good time of being a fan and having my own little course and drinking my little drink, eating my popcorn. But man, it was tough for me, JT. And maybe because I just thought we were just going to go in there and I'm not going to say necessarily cover.
Well, I think that's what they thought.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess you'll know about this. So I just went to a meeting out at the Star.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about this game before this show. And I heard the reports on 105.3 The Fan, and I heard Coach McCarthy and all them guys saying that hey, they did a whole lot of things that were tremendously different that caused trouble for Dak in the offense. That they were showing different things, the pre-snap looks and the movement on the snap created issues there. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they created problems because they were using the two quarterback things. And so they did a whole lot more of the run option, or what do you call it? The
Read
read
option.
option things that they didn't work on at all during the week because they had not showed it at all. So there was a whole lot of adjustments that they needed to do. Uh, I guess I'm supposed to buy into that. I don't know.
uh,
I don't. Are we supposed to be just okay with? Well, they showed us something different. So does that mean you got? Okay, here's my question to you: if that happens, you're the defensive coordinator, the JP2, the offense. You've been planning all week long about this offense, and then they come out with something totally different. They're not totally different, but they've added
mhm.
a whole lot more wrinkles. Do you get the pass for not? Do I, as athletic director, get to give you the pass to be able to say, well, they showed you something different, so okay, I should be happy that you won the game and figured it out on the last drive.
um, I don't know. Maybe a little biased at the high school level. I would say yes. Um, because that's I think that's difficult to do with those with that age group. You know, it's hard to um if you've been I'm thinking about even just an offense. Like it's hard to be working on something all year and then all of a sudden you come in and you're like, all right, we're putting in these 8 new plays this week just for this team. Like it's that usually at the high school level doesn't go well. You can add small tweaks. You can change this route on this play, but you can't just add 8 new plays and expect everybody to know what's going on. Um, I think that, and this is me not knowing what's going on. Really, it's I just feel like when it comes to things that you haven't seen before and like things aren't going your way, you should be able to get into your like whatever your defensive identity is, whatever you consider your base. Like you should be really good at running your base defense. And if things are going off the rails, you should be able to fall back into that and not necessarily solve all the problems, but look competent doing it. Like your confidence level should go up because now you're not worried about checks and what they're trying to do. Now you should just be able to play base and react. And yeah, you can change things to your coverage. You can still run your blitzes and whatnot, but whatever your core identity is, you should be good at that. And that should cover most of your bases.
Okay, I agree. So, and I want to make sure I'm hearing this right now because if I'm hearing you right, uh, well, let me pose you another question before I say that. Are you saying that the Texans should get more props of doing something good, and there should be less worry about the Dallas Cowboys because
No, I'm not saying that. I am saying maybe I'm saying a little bit of that. I'm saying that the Texans should be credited with a good game plan. But I don't think that that means that the Cowboys aren't at some kind of fault at all. I don't think those things are mutually exclusive. Um, I do remember after going to the Colts game, walking out of the stadium and saying, "Yeah, they score 54 points, but now people are just going to forget that there's still like problems, that there's still offensive woes that we have. They're going to look at the 54 points and be like, oh man, everything's great. And we beat the Colts and you hung half 100 on somebody." And I'm like, yeah, but like the offense to me, Still isn't like when the offense has the ball. I don't have that feeling of like, yeah, we're gonna go score here. It's more of like a how many yards are we gonna get, and can we get a field goal out of this drive? That's how I always feel when we're on offense. Is can we get a field goal out of this? Not a yes, we're gonna go score. They're gonna have to figure out how to stop us. That I still haven't gotten to that level of confidence um, with the
Well,
offense.
and that's not good, I guess, because you got a $40 million quarterback. I don't know how much Zeke makes and how much Paul is about to make and what CD Lamb makes. Uh, but just I don't know. It's just disappointing, I guess, because I expected more, and I know the interceptions. When you look at it, you say, "Well, it was Josh Ball's fault, the tackle, because Steele got hurt, and he gets whooped 2 plays in a row, blah blah blah, whatever." Um, I guess I get it from that standpoint. It just I don't know. I guess it's just after I feel like it just turned. The Cowboys took the first drive. It was flawless. They went down, scored a touchdown. It really looked like, man, we about to beat the brakes off these dudes.
Well, so I'm gonna go back to what you were saying, kind of, with when we were talking about Alabama LSU, and you were saying that you think that LSU probably didn't score in those first 2 or 3 drives, however much it was, because they were on the script and they're just trying to figure out what it was. And then once they figured out what the deal was, they turned it on. So I would say, using that same logic, it seems like you're going backwards. If you have a script that puts you square in end zone real quick, it's kind of like maybe you should be doing more of that. Like it seems like your preparation, whatever preparation you did and whatever game plan you came up with, and if you scripted out your plays and you walk into the end zone with ease, you should. It seems like you should then have a pretty good bead on what's going on defensively.
That's a good point. And I was actually going to go another route and say that the momentum changed the next drive. So defense stopped them. They punt. Turpin muffs
Muffs
the
it.
punt. They scored a touchdown. Haywire, it went downhill after that. It's like momentum changed something.
Yeah, and maybe this is me
Maybe
being
they
biased as a
corrected it first.
defensive coordinator, but I fully expect to give up a touchdown when something like that happens. Like when you make the stop and you're like, all right, I'm off the field, and then you muff a punt, and then they got the ball inside the 30, and you're like, come on, dude, really? Like,
No, but I want your mindset to be that you got to get your guys ready to say we can't let them in the end zone. We're going to give up
I
the
I
three.
agree, I agree, but I guess it's also still in the back of my mind of like, I'm not, I am. There is some level of frustration of like, hey, we let him in the end zone. Yeah, you don't want to let him in the end zone, but then at the same time, it's kind of like if they do get in the end zone, I get it. This is not a situation that you should be.
Well, and this is where you'll go, and I don't know if we're getting too technical or not, but this is where you go. So we watch the film, and if you have all 22, and you go watch the film, you'll actually see mistakes with guys being in the wrong gap on defense, so they were able to run the ball in that area a whole lot easier than it should have been. Guys got their head in the wrong gap,
Hmm.
So 31, uh, Damian Pierce he's a very good running back, but you're making it a whole lot easier on him because someone is getting it out of the scheme trying to make the play. And he's very good with setting up blocks to make someone put their head in the wrong side, and then he jumps in another hole, and next thing you know, he's on your safety. So now when I'm looking at that on the film, and particularly in a big screen today, I'm like, good Lord, that is a major mishap. Um, so I don't know. I'm not quite sure if that means trouble or not going into the next game against Jacksonville. Um, Early on, I thought it would have been yes, but now I don't really think so. ETN hasn't been running quite the same, and I think they want to make Trevor Lawrence look better than how he has been over the course of the whole year. He threw for a lot last year or last game, but
Yeah, I
so
mean,
I hope.
I was a little disappointed just because, like, look, the Texans are 1-11 and 1 or whatever for a reason. You know, I understand the any given Sunday thing, but like that that football team is still they've still lost 11 out of 12 games. Um,
Okay, so I'm going to go back to something this as you as a play caller on defense. So this team, they've never been running a read option. They didn't play dual quarterback kind of stuff. Should, like you said, should it really rely on rules to know that, hey, this kind of a drop back kind of guy? Do you talk about zone reads and all that? Well, hey, if the guy pulls it, because they could pull it in any play, right?
well, yeah, so that's kind of what I was thinking. That's why I was saying with your bait. That's really where I was going with having your base defense. And it's like, look, man, you the rules should dictate that, like, just in general, if they're running zone one way, that the quarterback always has the option to pull it and go the other way. Just so happens, you might be playing Matt Ryan. He's not going to pull it. But I would, I don't know. I don't even know who the Texans quarterback is between Davis Mills and I don't even know who the other dude was.
Drexler or
Jeff Driscoll.
yes, Driscoll, who was a
So,
tight end, not quarterback, so some whatever.
so I would say, like, look, my thought is if a quarterback comes into the game that is not the usual guy,
Smell a rat.
like anything that you thought was going to happen, that's out the window. Like now you just have to you got to play defense, you got to play your rules. Cuz you don't know, like you can't I don't see how you can be a defensive member on the Cowboys and say, "Yeah, well we know Jeff Driscoll's not pulling it." Like he hadn't played. How do you know? You
Well, yeah. After the first play,
So
after
yeah, I
the
mean, all you have to do is pull it one time, and you're like, okay, yeah, maybe I should stay home on the backside now. Whoops, my bad. I won't let that happen again. But you should know that already.
yeah, but then he threw the I say bomb. It wasn't a bomb, but he threw the touchdown over Jeff Wilson and Malik Hooker. The flop down there in the end zone, and that's just another piece that kind of frustrated me. Like, man, we can't even make a play. I don't know. Maybe everybody went out and was drinking the night before or something and just said we're gonna win it. But I hope they bounce back because it's this one is too big of a game. Everybody's looking forward to the December 24th game against the Eagles, but you can't look past these
Mm-hmm.
Jaguars or at their place. Nah, I don't know. I'm going to be optimistic, but there's a lot of things happening, right? So the right tackle gets hurt still. Um, Still trying to figure out who's going to play there. Is it going to be? Are they going to move Tyler Smith, because Tyron Smith is back.
Oh, is he? I didn't know
And
that.
he is back. So how many reps does he get? Does he play the whole game or not at left tackle? You got to play him left tackle if he's healthy. But does he play the whole game? Then do you move Tyler Smith to left guard or do you move him to the right tackle? Um, how much shakeup do you do? Do you take Conor McGovern out, move Tyler Smith to left guard? And what's the other guy's name? Jason Peters. Do you put him at right tackle where he played a part of the game? So there's just so much to
Mm.
think about. Um, there. Did we get our questions answered about the corner opposite Diggs, Kelvin Joseph?
we all knew to deal with Kelvin Joseph. Like there's a reason that he's a special teams star.
Well, he was drafted in the second round as a corner.
Yeah, but see that's I guess that's what I'm saying. That's all you need to know. All you need to know is that he's a second round corner that usually doesn't play and plays on special teams.
Yeah, but
That
they just
paints a
brought in.
vivid picture for me.
Okay, and they just brought in this other guy. Forgive me for not knowing the name and not doing enough homework yet, but they just signed another corner.
I saw
That
that.
apparently was pretty good, but I don't know what happened and why he was dismissed from the Raiders. I think that's where he came from. He was released from the Raiders. I think he was a former first round pick. I could be making that up. I
Yeah,
just know.
I'm trying to find it. Um,
It's not Trayshawn, but something like that. Traylon.
Mackenzie Alexander.
No, there's
Oh,
another
Trayvon
one.
Mullen. I'm sorry, Trayvon
Yes,
Mullen.
yes, him. And he was he a high draft pick just a couple years ago, a few
Is that
years
the dude
ago.
from TCU?
What's his name?
Trayvon Mullen. Uh, he was drafted. Oh, he went to Clemson. He was drafted by the Cardinals. Looks like no,
Oh,
drafted in the
Mullen.
second round by the Raiders.
Second round.
Wait,
So I don't know if they're getting for depth.
so did he never play for the Raiders? I'm so confused. He okay,
He's
so he played.
25.
Yes, so he played 2019, 2020, 2021 with the Raiders, and he played 1, 2, 3,
He started.
4, 5, 6, 7 games for Arizona this year.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out why he was. The Raiders traded him to the Cardinals, exchanged for a seventh round pick, active for 10 games, then released. So what happened? Or is this kind of what happened to me?
I don't know. It says one day ago, Cardinals cut Trayvon Mullen, signed. Oh, well, I mean, I guess maybe I'm giving too much benefit of the doubt here, but since Kyler Murray gets hurt, Trayvon Mullins played 8 games. He hadn't started any. They cut him and they signed a new QB. Kind of just seems like a business deal. Like Kyler's hurt, so you need somebody to.
No, but once you go on IR, don't you free up that spot or no? I mean, Kyler
Yeah. Well,
Murray.
I mean, I know that's how it works in fantasy.
I mean, he's. I know you don't because you don't play fantasy football anymore. Rules changed since the last time you played.
Well, this beat writer says that it was a surprising move that they released Trayvon Mullen.
I don't say maybe they knew something or something had to happen off the field, but I don't know. Anyway, so he's here, and I'm just wondering if there's a lot of questions you got to ask about. Is that just for depth? Hey, we need it just in case because they were rolling DBs in and out. I don't know if you could see it on TV or not, but man, they were switching defensive back packages a lot during the game and where they were, between Bland and Israel, Kwamu, and I
Hey,
mean, it was just LaShawn Wright. There's a
other
lot.
other thing about Trayvon Mullen's situation, they just fired the GM. So you think that has anything to do with it?
At the Arizona
Yeah.
Cardinals? Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's a fun one on Wikipedia. Mullen is the cousin of Lamar Jackson.
Huh.
Yeah.
Don't let me forget. Since it's 9:08. We do have some questions from Richard Blake
Let's do
for
it.
you.
All right, come on.
All right. He says it's been a while since he's been here. Would like your take on one, the Bama coordinators stay or go, and then two, comments by Saban alums bagging on today's team. I can't give you any insight on what alums have said about this team. I can only guess, but I couldn't give you any specifics.
Well, um, about the coordinators, I think, me personally, I think they both should be gone. Um, some of that is just from our analytical point. I just think there's some things that, not that they don't know what they're doing. I just think they're not connecting with the guys and get them to execute at the best level. I do think Bob, Bill O'Brien, is underachieving with that as well, and maybe that's why some of those receivers are leaving, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm not really sure, but I thought it's been simple. I thought we were making too many. We were too predictable. Um, I was watching the games, and you kind of tell what they were going to run. I think defensive standpoint, I think it's been uh, not letting our guys play fast enough. Um, and I think we're outthinking ourselves on that. We just need to understand our personnel, and I don't think we're understanding those guys with that. The second question was about what? What was the second part?
The second part of that was basically what are your thoughts on the comments by other Saban alums bagging on today's team?
You know, I'm probably different in this standpoint just because I think there are conversations that you have with your boys, while we're sitting at a bar or at the house or on the phone, and maybe we're saying, hey, they're not as good as we thought we were. But I still think that uh, it's still our school, it's still our team, and you got to find solutions and try to figure out how do you help in this. Um, so, and John, you can help me eloquently say this because John and I kind of met and we were talking with some individuals about how do you actually compete in today's football world. The type of kid that you got to have, the type of coach that you got to have, the type of NIL deal that you got to have. And I think it's a little bit more complex because in our day, I hate to talk like the old guy, but back there was just a few years ago, you were playing for the University of Alabama because you liked Alabama football. You wanted to be that. You were trying to get to the NFL. Now, guys aren't playing that way. They're playing for the next deal that might not be the NFL. It could be the next car dealership deal, the next sponsorship. And so there's no real tie into, I'm sure, Richard, that you're probably talking about. What's the running back's name that's on Bama Standard? And
Bo Scarborough.
Bo Scarborough. He is very hard on these guys and very critical about these guys and things of that nature. And I'm not saying that any of his points are wrong, and you got things that you got to say on your show and do all this kind of stuff. I 100% understand that, but I think that me attacking the other player, just saying they don't. I don't know, JT. You can chime in on that. I just think that I don't know the true mindset of these players right now with the way that the influencer world works and the money deals. And hell, you're not on Instagram the way I am, but I'm on Instagram, and every day that I go in there, the first thing that pops up is like uh, build revenue some
Hmm.
kind of thing on click here to see if your reels can make you money kind of thing. And I actually did it one time. I'm like, well, shoot, I'm shooting the reels. Maybe I got enough people watching. I can make some money. And then it ran out after 30 days. I really didn't make any money, not anything significant or anything. Then it now it's keep coming up. Now I just click off of it. You're like, quit doing this. So I can't imagine what that would be like as an 18-year-old or 19-year-old who's trying to make
Hmm.
some cash. Anyway, I went all around the world, but that's kind of where I am. Chill out on some of it until you can really truly understand the world that they're in now. Gen, what are they? Gen what? Z,
Alpha.
LMNOP,
I think it
something.
might be alpha now because, uh,
That's the Gen.
yeah,
All right.
I don't know.
What questions you got? Another question?
Yes. Um, More from Richard Blake. We had a Twitter conversation about cold weather, and you brought up the Green Bay playoff game in the early '90s. What was that like to play in? And then a follow up on that, I guess more of what we talked about last week. Coach Prime to Colorado. He said, like I said, it's been a while since I've been here. So he missed last week's show when we talked about that.
Okay. Cold weather um, is difficult to play in. JT's played in cold weather.
I
I
have. I
know
mean,
this.
it wasn't -20, but it was still terrible.
Yeah, it was very terrible. And it's my first year coming out of Alabama, so my blood hadn't got as thick as it needed to be. It was December 26th, the day after Christmas, which doesn't help.
Yeah, see, we
Um,
didn't we didn't play that late into the season.
yeah,
So
it was day after Christmas. It was negative something, regular temperature, and the wind chill, brought it down in the negative 20s or so. Um, I think it actually ended up being like I always quote negative 26. I think it ended up being somewhere closer down to negative 29. So no, I could not feel my feet at all. Um, and I was miserable. Actually, that was the one time where I actually set my shoes on fire on the sideline because I put them in front of that little flamethrower that they have on to keep you warm. And I just was putting my feet there, and I was laying back in the thing, and my feet actually caught on fire. And someone started yelling at me, "Hey, what is the Teague?" So I had to get some new shoes um, to go in the game. And the trainers did come by and said, uh, "Are you okay?" And I did drop it an explicative, and I said, "No," but there were some other words before that because I wasn't. Um, But it turned out good because we were playing the Raiders. They were just as cold as we were. They didn't have no part of them. We shut them out. And the other good piece was the ball was so cold. I got my first interception in the National Football League because the ball hit me right in the chest and it just
and it
froze
didn't
to my
bounce.
it just froze to my jersey. Just stayed there. So I got my first interception. So good and bad. Okay. And I'm sorry, I'm very bad with this. I know there was another question. So that
Thoughts
thing
on
got
Coach Prime
longer.
going to Colorado? But I just
Oh,
wanted to add, playing in the cold is a real thing. Being able to prepare for it. I didn't have to play too many games in the snow. But the first one that I did have to play in the snow in college, um, although I hated the week up to practice because it was cold all week in practice, it didn't snow. But we were playing a conference game that very much mattered whether we were going to win the conference or not. It was at home, and the team coming to play us was Jacksonville, and it snowed Thursday night. And I
mm,
know they were not ready to play in the snow coming from Jacksonville, Florida. So that was one of the easier. It kind of didn't really matter what the game plan was because they were just
they
mentally
wanted to get
checked
out
out
there.
of that game.
Yep.
And the wind was blowing so hard. I've never seen this before. We were playing. It was a 30-yard field goal. Um, I think they were kicking to tie the game before halftime. The wind is blowing so hard the other direction. Their kicker kicks it. It goes up into the air and it floats and it stalls and it blows back
Goes backwards.
behind the line of scrimmage.
That's
It,
considered a live ball,
it
right?
is a live ball. It is a live ball. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little difficult. So prime time, and so let me say this. And probably I'm gonna say this the way that we can on Teague's take, um, because I got a whole lot of feelings about this. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. Um, so I'll try to say it without getting myself in trouble. Particularly because I did a whole big article. I don't know if I sent that to you on from the Athletic, about the support of Deion Sanders and all the great things that has done at Jackson State, and the awareness that he's brought to the HBCUs. All right. Now I have a very good and clear, a different perspective of Dion as well. Not only did I play with him, not only do I know him, and those kind of things, I got to see him as a coach at the uh, Pee Wee level, if I can put it that way, because he had the truth. I don't know if you remember that, JT. He
Yeah,
had
that
the
was a charter
organization.
school, which,
No, no, no,
oh,
no.
no.
He had a youth
Right.
football league
Yes.
called the Truth.
Right.
So he had middle school kids basically, and they were talented, and he found all the best kids, and he supported them. So you had the piece of charity in it and running it through a football organization. And so I got to see how he affected people in a positive way, but also how dominant it was from a football perspective. Because he would call us at Carrollton Christian, "Hey, we'll play your varsity." And I had to tell Dion, "No, I'm not playing your. How's that going to make me any better? That I'm going to play your seventh and eighth graders, and my varsity team is going to lose to you? That's stupid, right?" Um, so that was one piece. Then he goes to Trinity Christian Academy, or he tried to. Yeah, he was there. Then he had the other school, so fast tracking all that. He did all these other things, but some of it was kind of sticky, right? His school didn't make it because of things that he was not following the rules still. Um, but he still was able to try to touch people. Same thing at Trinity Christian Academy. They had very, very good football teams. Ultimately, Trinity Christian Academy ended up getting kicked out of TAPS while he was there. Not saying his fault, but I'm sure he had something to do with it. Okay. So now he goes to HBCU. He has this tremendous run. He's got game day coming out, new uniforms, all the hype and all this kind of stuff. Now he lands this job at Colorado to get to Richard's question. All right. So I am excited for Dion have this opportunity to be able to show what kind of coach is he. Will he be the best coach in college football, the next great one, to be able to do things, turn that Colorado team around and all that? Or what scares me is, will he be detrimental to himself because of how he operates sometimes? Are we going to start to hear about scandals, different things? Is his administration going to be able to keep that in check? Or maybe he doesn't even have to worry about it with NILs and new things and business relationships. I don't know. I just don't want him to be tarnished because of some mistakes that he potentially could make if he's not totally in line with compliance and how those things work, because he will not fail. He's not going to let himself fail. He's going to do whatever it takes to be able to win. And I think he'll push the line farther than he needs to sometimes. So I'm going to stop at that before I get down the rabbit hole too bad. Was that safe? Was that good there? Without
I think so.
yeah.
That
Okay.
was that was milder than my hot take that I had last
Well,
week. So, I said he wasn't going to coach more than 2 bowl games.
well, and but are you saying it because you think he's going to move on by then, or that he's going to get canned?
I think though I think it's one of those two options. Like, it's either the success is quick, and maybe it's not even. And when I say success, I don't even mean like all of a sudden they're just a playoff team. It might be Colorado ain't no good right now, and they're they make a bowl game next year, and then they're 8-4, 9-3 the year after that, and then somebody's like, "Yep, dude's for real. Come on, you know."
I'd be shocked if he's not, because he's going to be able to recruit. I mean, people are already reaching out to him like you can now. So he's going to get immediate talent.
So there's I think the only options are the two opposite ends of the spectrum. Very fast, very promising success, or very harsh failure. Whether that's non-compliance reasons or whatever, I don't know, but I see my bet would be 2 seasons. Either he's on to the next bigger job or he's back on TV.
Well, I think it'll be interesting to see how his influencer piece works out on that level. How much can he really do? I mean, you got to think about the college coaches that are kind of like that. Who are they? Uh, what's the coach's name at Ole Miss? He's kind
Lane
of a
Kiffin.
big, yeah. He's a big social media something something or another.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that he's doing it to necessarily to capitalize and make his brand. I think that's just who he is.
Oh yeah, no, that is, and I think that's kind of why I enjoy Lane Kiffin. Like I understand why people don't like him and whatnot, but I don't think that Lane Kiffin is being outside of anything that he like. That's just Lane Kiffin. What he was doing, he was doing it at USC. He was doing it at FAU. He's doing it at Ole Miss. Like dude hasn't changed at all.
Now, now maybe we could say that about prime time too. It's just to a different level with the cameras walking around, always in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that's posted is by his son shooting the video. I'm just wondering if it becomes a distraction in the locker room. The higher you go up, that this guy's going to be like, man, why is your son walking around with this doggone camera? you know, maybe filming me, but definitely filming you. It's just about us. It's just about the team, or it's just about you.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I mean, I want to see. I mean, even what they just do in the Pac-12, because there's another coach that is, not necessarily like social media things like that, but can just like walk into anybody's house and grab a quarterback and say, "Look, if you come play, basically, if you come play quarterback for me, he will win the Heisman." In Lincoln Riley, that's just a fact at this point. If you have ever played college football, you either a Heisman finalist or you have won it. If you played for Lincoln Riley at quarterback, um, and then like Kyle Whittingham at Utah, they just that's just a very good solid program. They're not bringing in necessarily high profile guys. They line up, they play good football, and they beat you. And then
okay,
Oregon's still pretty good. So like it's not a. It may not be like a top end heavy conference like we were talking about, maybe with the SEC or the Big Ten or something like that. But when you're Colorado, those three teams, USC, I mean, even UCLA, USC, UCLA, Utah, and Oregon are still teams that are right now just better than you.
okay. So hold on. So this is what we're gonna do because we need to be off in at least the next 3 minutes. So I'm gonna put this challenge out to John O today, and he can be our. I don't know. You think of the term. I'm gonna say our analyst, our watch guy, or whatever. I know he's always watching Bama and all that, but we need to track what the heck is going on with the Colorado Buffaloes and their recruiting between now and February. Who are they getting? What kind of guys are doing? Because I'm never watching what the heck Colorado's doing. Like,
Yeah,
are
I mean,
they?
who is for real though?
Yeah, are they? Huh? Well, early signing day. He won't have enough between now and next week, probably.
Well, what if?
Maybe.
Hey, oh, never mind. I was gonna say, what if I told you they were the already had the 10th ranked class? They don't. They have the 10th. They have the 10th ranked class in the Pac-12. So
Yeah. So we need to see how they're going to rank, John. So I'm putting you on that. You're going to have to be our deal, and you can come in and tell the people what's happening here because I'm not going to watch it. JT might be watching it, but I'm not really. I know I'm not going to be sitting here watching what's going on with their recruiting. Okay, so that maybe we can track that over the next 2 months before signing day, and then
Yeah.
we can add in some others when we get into the recruiting piece when we bring in some other specialists. I think that'll be a good show. No, we
Yeah.
do that,
It's
huh?
it's
He already on it. See, no, I don't, no, no, don't tell. No, we don't want you to tell us right now. He said he had 4 or 5 stars come in this week.
oh
Okay, thank
well.
you, Richard. We do appreciate it very much. Thanks for hanging out, being here. Hope to see you again next week um, in the future. Don't forget that we're going to be doing a show on what day did we say? 31st. When's the Sugar Bowl? Or what day did we say? I forgot. We were
The
doing a
Sugar
special
Bowl is on the first, I think.
first. Third on the first, huh? It's on the 31st. The Sugar Bowl at 11 a.m.
I don't
God,
believe you.
that sucks. Well,
11 a.m. They don't play the Sugar Bowl in the morning. Nobody does that.
yeah, who does that?
Oh my
Oh,
God, they
playoff
are
games are the same day later.
for real. 11 a.m. That is well.
Changed your whole program, didn't it? That's okay, because then we can toast it up afterwards. Okay, so don't forget about that one as well. Mark that on your calendars that we're going to do some type of watch party with that show. Okay. So with that, we'll be back here next Wednesday, 8:15 at the Lantern um, in Plano, Texas, 6205. Get out here on the weekends, watch your football games. Come watch the Ravens. It's the Ravens bar. I don't know when the Ravens play the Steelers, but I'm taking the Ravens whenever they get ready to play the Steelers. Oh, they already played them twice. My bad, John. Then beat them twice. Uh, but I don't know. I would do it anyway because Tyler Huntley is the quarterback now. But
They got
enjoy.
the Browns next week.
Yeah, they got the Browns. So anyway, I'm going to be doing my thing. Check me out on CBS 11 on Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m. if you're here locally, or you can get it at cbsdfw.com as well. So we're going to get out. I'm going to say roll tide and go Cowboys. And for all you karaoke singers who are walking in, sing well tonight, and I might dance a little bit. Peace out.